It begins quietly, so quietly it almost goes unnoticed. No alarm screaming from news screens. No sudden collapse looming on the horizon. Just an ordinary morning. You wake up, reach for your phone, and open your banking app out of habit. The numbers are there. Everything looks normal. And yet, there's a subtle feeling of unease. You step out into the world, and everything appears the same. You walk into a cafe, order your drink, swipe your card, decline. You pause for a moment. Maybe it's a technical glitch. You try again, declined. A third time, anxiety begins to rise in your chest. Decline. You check your balance again. The money is still there. Nothing has been stolen. So why can't you use it? This is the moment where we misunderstand money. We believe money is something we own, something that sits in our account like a physical object waiting for our command. But that is an illusion. Modern money is not something you hold, it is something you are allowed to access. A temporary permission granted by a vast, interconnected system. Your bank balance is not cash in a vault. It is a number inside a massive database. And databases can be changed, restricted, frozen, or denied. Not because the money disappeared, but because your access to it did. The real question is not, what if your money disappears? But rather, what if you are no longer authorized to use it? Because real power does not reveal itself through force, but through control. And there is no control more absolute than controlling what you can and cannot do with your own money. Now imagine a scenario that goes beyond financial transactions. Every action you take, every purchase, every opinion you express on social media is quietly monitored, recorded, and evaluated by a comprehensive system that assigns you a social credit score. At first glance, the idea seems logical, an extension of financial credit scores. But a social credit system goes far beyond that. It doesn't just measure your financial behavior. It measures you as a person, your habits, your choices, your opinions, your level of compliance. Suddenly, paying your bills on time is no longer enough. The question is no longer, are you financially responsible? But, do you behave the way we expect you to? In a traditional financial system, your access to money depends on your financial credibility, your income, your debts, your repayment history. But in a social credit system, new variables are introduced, more subjective ones. Did you post a controversial opinion? Did you associate with someone who has a low score? Do your spending habits reflect undesirable behavior? Every action becomes a data point that affects your score. And this is where the danger lies. The moment your financial access is tied to your overall behavior, your freedom begins to shrink, not through force, but through fear of consequences. You begin to learn, on your own, what not to do. A lower score means higher interest rates, rejected loans, limited access to services, and in extreme cases, total financial exclusion. Here, human psychology comes into play. We adapt. We respond to incentives. We avoid pain. When your financial survival depends on your behavior, you begin to self-censor. You comply, not because you are forced to, but because the cost of non-compliance is too high. This is how the system teaches you to control yourself, to become your own jailer. To understand how we got here, go back to a time when money had physical weight. Coins, paper bills, assets you could exchange without permission. Cash was freedom. No intermediary, no surveillance, no record. But that world began to disappear with the rise of credit cards, online banking, and mobile payments. With every innovation, friction disappeared. And with it, privacy. Companies like Visa and MasterCard transformed financial transactions into massive streams of data. Every swipe, every click, every digital purchase is recorded and analyzed. In a fully digital financial system, a transaction is not just an exchange of value, it is an exchange of information. When you buy a coffee, the system records the price, the time, the location, the merchant, and your behavioral pattern. Multiply that by billions of users, and what you get is not just a payment network, but a detailed behavioral map that can be predicted and influenced. Banks and fintech platforms rely on massive centralized databases, governed by complex algorithms. These algorithms don't just observe, they decide. They flag suspicious activity, detect anomalies, enforce compliance, and most importantly, they can restrict access to your money. This is where the nature of money changes. It is no longer something you independently own. It becomes something that exists within a controlled digital ecosystem. Physical cash is like water in your hand, free. Digital money is like water in a sealed pipe, efficient and directed. But it can be shut off at any moment. If this sounds theoretical, Look at China. The social credit system there is not a future concept, it is an operational reality. It is designed to measure trustworthiness, a word that carries far more weight than it seems. It's not just about financial responsibility, but about obedience and compliance with social and political norms. Citizens are evaluated based on financial, social, and legal behaviors. Even minor infractions, like jaywalking, can affect your score. A high score gives you faster loan approvals and priority access to services. A low score means restricted travel, limited financial access, and public blacklisting. Some individuals have been banned from buying plane tickets, not because they lack money, but because their score says they don't deserve that freedom. This is not about wealth. It is about permission. You can have money and still be denied opportunity and mobility, because the score holds power, not the money. The system does not need to punish everyone. It only needs to punish a few. To make an example. The rest adapt quickly. They observe consequences, learn the lesson, regulate their behavior not out of belief, but out of survival. This is how control expands, not through military force, but through visibility, incentives, and consequences. In the West, control does not appear as a centralized system, but as a fragmented, evolving feature, always justified by reasonable arguments. The shift happens quietly through government policies and digital platforms. Companies like PayPal and Apple have turned payments into complex interactions within tightly controlled ecosystems. When you use these platforms, you are participating in a system you do not control. Accounts can be restricted, funds frozen, access revoked, often without clear explanation. This phenomenon is known as financial deplatforming, the ability to remove someone from the financial system, not because they lack money, but because they violated vague policies. Once the infrastructure to restrict access exists, the criteria can expand. The Western model distributes control across banks, tech companies, and payment processors. Together, they form a vast network of influence. In such an environment, uncertainty itself becomes a tool of control. You don't know where the line is, so you stay within safe boundaries. Financial exclusion is not just an inconvenience. It is a form of economic death. Now imagine embedding all of this directly into money itself, through central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. This is programmable money. Money that carries instructions, defining how, when, and where it can be used. In a CBDC system, every unit of currency can be tracked and controlled. Imagine receiving money that can only be spent on certain categories, or money that expires after a certain date. This is often discussed as a way to stimulate economic activity by increasing the velocity of money, but instead of indirectly influencing behavior through interest rates, programmable money enforces behavior directly. This transforms monetary policy from a broad tool into a precise, individualized mechanism. Control no longer operates at the level of the economy. It operates at the level of the individual. And if you cannot decide how to use your money, do you truly own it? Or are you simply operating within a system that decides everything for you? The fuel behind all of this is data. Every click, every purchase, every digital interaction is a signal used to build a digital version of you. Companies like Google and Amazon built empires on this principle. The more they know about you, the better they can predict and influence your behavior. Now imagine applying that to money. Where your digital identity merges with your financial identity, and your entire digital record becomes the key to accessing everything. The final question is this the future we want? The answer does not lie in technology. It lies in awareness. In our willingness to question, to challenge, and to demand sovereignty over our money, our data, and our freedom. Because the system does not need to hide. It only needs you, not to question it. And the moment you stop questioning, you are already a prisoner of its invisible rules.